Hello there. So Dave here again. We are in the book of 1 Kings chapter 8 where Solomon is about to dedicate the temple. And I was just thinking about this entire temple and how God designed it really and put all these ideas in motion, plans in motion. David, before he died, was able to fund basically most of it, giving a lot of money to Solomon, putting aside money for what would be the temple that the Jews would come into and worship God and to celebrate him and sacrifice and all of that. And it's how David didn't know the end result because, obviously he died before it was built. I was just thinking, it was at this really amazing Vincent van Gogh encounter experience where you go in there and you see his artwork and literally you walk into this huge room and his artwork is everywhere. The Starry Night and all the others, it's got the sunflowers. There's so many amazing things he did. And none of it became popular until way after Van Gogh died. But it's interesting to see, and it was interesting also that he had studied the Bible when he was young. I was like, that's pretty cool. So he was a Christian, and he actually studied the Word and taught Bible studies a little bit when he was younger. And really, he died when he was in his 30s, so he really didn't even die that old. At any rate, the cat's trying to attack the camera. Down. Okay, so anyway, so it's interesting that, you can invest yourself in something that people may not even care about until way after you're gone. Same is true with things you put money into now, or you put your time and effort into now will become fruitful later. You may not see the results. You can plant the ground with seeds for trees that will grow, and then generations later, people will enjoy those trees. Things that you do now have an impact on the future. And this temple now, as Solomon's dedicating his amazing prayer here, recognizing God and all of that, and showing that this is where the Spirit of God is going to dwell. He chose Israel, and he has still chosen Israel. Let's not forget that. It's important, especially right now with everything going on in Israel right now. God did not stop using his people. The Jews are still his chosen people. Christians are a branch off of the Jewish faith because we are worshiping the Jewish Messiah. Christians are not Israelites. Christians are not Jewish. You can have Jewish Christians, but not every Christian is Jewish. That doesn't make any sense at all. We are a grafted in, Paul explains all that in the New Testament, how we are a special people. We're Gentiles, unless you're Jewish, in which case you know what I mean. You're understanding that there's a difference and people are not understanding how that works, but it is the case. Israel and the church are two separate entities in the Bible. They have two separate destinies and purposes. And eventually the rapture will take out the church and God will put the time clock back on Israel, sort of like a chess set time clock. One player's working on and then the other player's working. So right now, the church is kind of the main point, but God isn't done working with Israel either. At any rate, chapter 9, God warns Solomon of the things that will happen if they turn away from him. Chapter 10, Queen of Sheba visits Solomon. It's pretty neat. It tells what she saw and how amazed she was at the wealth of Solomon. And then chapter 11 talks about Solomon's decline because in the end, in the latter years of his life, he did have a lot of unlawful marriages, and those marriages, those wives from other countries that he had made treaties with, tore him away from God and brought his faith and destroyed his entire reputation of his work with God. So he suddenly was no longer doing what he was supposed to do. And at that point, he died. We'll get into chapter 12 and start talking about the divided empire, the divided nation of Israel and Judah after that. But it's interesting, too, that everything from going forward now goes back to David. Everybody says he did great things like his father David, or he did not do any of the good things that his father David did. So it's interesting. Study the word, get into it. Promise you the word of truth will read you while you read it, and the Holy Spirit will be with you and guide you. God bless.